In this video, we take you along as we visit our favorite ruins thus far, 3 different ex-conventos, and the most diverse market we've ever been to.
We are Georgia and David. We quit our jobs to travel full-time around Mexico with our 14-year-old Sheltie Poo Meep. Our goal is to take a picture with her in front of 100 Pueblo signs. So today we drove about 12 kilometers and 25 minutes to the archaeological zone of Monte Alban.
Monte Alban was believed to be founded about 500 BC, and then it existed up to 500 AD. So it had about a 1,000-year run here, and it was built by the Zapotecos. So we're going to go in and check it out. It's said to be the most important archaeological site in the state of Oaxaca.
And unfortunately, it does not look like we have this place to ourselves today.
No, there's tons of tour buses and tour vans and cars.
The site museum is included with the entrance fee, and this museum was a bit larger and more extensive than others we have visited. So after paying our 90 peso per person entrance fee, we went and checked out the museum.
The museum was pretty interesting. Apparently there are a ton of carvings and sculptures. There were some skulls and really some of the most intricate kind of like wall pieces I've seen, super well preserved. Another thing to note is that on Sundays, entry is free for citizens and residents. But today is a Friday, so we had to pay.
Now that we're actually in the archaeological zone, it doesn't feel that crowded here, even though there was a whole bunch of tour buses and cars out there.
Yeah, things are pretty spread out, and just like pretty much every other archaeological zone we've been to, the views up here are fantastic. They definitely loved building on the high ground. Well, I think we've solved the mystery as to why things don't feel crowded despite all the tour buses. It's because this place is huge. This is probably the largest archaeological zone we have visited thus far.
There are a few reasons that this site was our favorite. 1, the layout really made you feel like you were discovering new sites at every turn. 2, you were able to climb multiple pyramids, getting a better overall view of the site. And lastly, it wasn't overly reconstructed like other sites we visited. It seemed to have a lot of new concrete and construction. Here things appear to be closer to the original state. So there's very little shade here. I would recommend either getting a hat or definitely get some sunscreen.
This site is way bigger than we thought it was, so I would definitely recommend wearing some comfortable shoes. We're really lucky. Yesterday, I think the high was like 90 degrees. Today, the high is only 78, and it is quite breezy up here, so it's very beautiful, but the sun is definitely pretty intense. So this morning we were on our way and about an hour and a half into our 2-hour drive to San Pedro y San Pablo, which is a Pueblo Magico here in the state of Oaxaca. And we came upon this.
Ex-convent, de Santo Domingo, Yanhuitlan, if I'm pronouncing that right, probably not, but something like that.
It is super impressive and it looks like it's currently open, so we are going to go check it out.
The church is super ornate with intricately carved gold-covered altars. There were religious paintings throughout, and the carved stone arches in the ceiling were particularly unique. The convent itself was a stark contrast. Everything was very simple, there was very little art throughout. The architecture was still quite impressive. There appears to have been a lot of reconstruction done on this site, and despite their investment, it didn't appear popular with tourists, as we were the only ones there for the entire visit. So we drove about 25 minutes from our last stop to San Pedro y San Pablo Teposcolula. It's a Pueblo Magico.
And the reason it is Pueblo Magico is for the structure behind us. It is actually said to be the world's largest open capilla or open chapel. So we are going to check that out. It does look like we have arrived on a day that they are having some kind of festival. In the main center, we saw a bunch of food stalls set up, and it looks like they may be doing a service in the main church here. So we'll see how much we can record. The other cool thing was on the way here, I saw what, as an American, I would call fall colors on the trees on the hillsides. It's currently almost March here in Oaxaca, but there were trees that were orange and yellow and red. It was quite pretty drive.
They were having mass, so we continued on to explore the vendors set up around the town square. I'm not sure if this town usually has letters, but we couldn't find any in this day. Fortunately, this town does have plenty of colorful street art, and we took our family photo in front of this mural instead. We just had some delicious barbacoa while we were waiting for mass to finish up.
Yeah, the barbacoa, we got a half kilo for just 250 pesos, and then they charge 20 pesos for the tortillas. I've noticed that's the thing here in Oaxaca, is that they charge separate for the tortillas. We haven't run into that in any other parts of Mexico. It's just kind of interesting. We're getting ready to go head in and check out the church. It does, however, look like the museum of the ex-convent is still roped off, so I don't think we're going to be able to go in there.
we were checking out the church, we noticed they were having an exhibition to the side. Some of the people from town had brought some of their old photos for display. On our way out of the festival, we stopped to buy a few things. First, there was this amazing table with handmade sweets. Next, we purchased some artisan chocolates made in a town just 30 minutes away. We both ordered a cappuccino from this stall, and the coffee was so good we bought an entire kilo to bring home with us. Finally, we tried multiple licores made from aguardiente. We decided to take a bottle of cajeta, or caramel flavor, home. Our last stop in town was Casa de la Casica. It was built in 1560 to be the home of the last Mixteca queen. The Spanish built it for her so she would serve as an intermediary between them and her people. Today is a children's library. We made one last stop on our way home and we saw this huge church. Unfortunately, the church was closed and there were no placards to provide any information. We found it super interesting nonetheless. This morning we drove about a half hour to Cuilapam, which is known for this big ex-convento behind us.
We don't have Meep with us today because most of the ex-conventos don't like her coming inside. A couple of them have allowed it when she stayed in the backpack, but you could tell they weren't really thrilled about it. And after this, we are actually heading to the town of Zaachila, which I think is only about 10 minutes from here, because today is Thursday, and they have Jueves de Plaza, which means Plaza Thursdays, where they basically turn the entire main plaza into an outdoor market. So we're excited to check that out as well. And we figured trying to navigate Meep through a crowded market might be a little difficult. Well, as we started to walk up to the gate, we noticed a giant lock on it, and we were worried that we were continuing with the same luck of every church and convent being closed. But luckily, there was a lady who was sitting in the shade, and she came up and unlocked the door.
And it was 70 pesos per person to enter the ex-convento. Construction of this ex-convento began in 1530, making it one of the oldest Spanish-era ex-conventos we've ever seen. This ex-convento was our favorite in the area. It appeared to be very well preserved with minimal reconstruction. It was also more ornate with many murals and wall carvings on display. We really enjoyed the fact that we were able to wander without a guide and there were very few other people there. So the full name of this town is actually Cuilapam de Guerrero. And come to find out, the reason for that is because he was actually kept as a prisoner in this convent behind us, and then he was executed afterwards.
Yeah, so they have like a giant statue of him here, and they have like a little plaque above the cell that he was kept in as well.
Cuilapam ended up being a cute and colorful town. They did have town letters. However, since we didn't have Meep with us, we didn't bother to take a family photo.
Well, we drove just about 9 minutes down the road to the gastronomy mercado here in Zachila.
So we're gonna go in and check it out because we're both starving. I'm guessing that the gastronomy market is a lot busier on the weekends. On this particular Thursday, about half of the stalls weren't even open. However, we were able to find an absolutely delicious barbacoa stall, and as we mentioned before, we were super hungry, so we ate it all before we were able to film it. This market is unique since people from small towns all throughout the area travel to Zaachila on Thursdays to buy and sell. At this point, we came across the main mercado, which is open every day. And here we found what seemed like countless bakery stalls. This area also housed fresh poultry and meat vendors. I know we've said in past videos other markets have had everything you would need or want for sale. This market, however, takes it to a whole new level. We saw things in this market we've not seen in others. For example, industrial kitchen equipment and beds. After walking around the market for about an hour, we were both hot and ready for something refreshing. And it was perfect timing that we came to this section of the market with many taco and ice cream stalls.
So this is beso oaxaqueño, which actually has carrots and coconut, apple, and walnuts, topped with leche quemada, which is that burnt milk ice cream from the other day.
We took a break from the market for a minute to check out the kiosco and main garden as well as the church, which was unfortunately closed. So the market in Zaachila went on forever and ever.
I know that we did not see all the booths, but we walked around for almost 2 hours. I was able to get some socks. David got a knife We got some bread, we got some empanadas, I bought some avocados, and I got a makeup bag. So a little bit of everything. As always, thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please leave them down below. If you haven't already, check out our Oaxacan Art Town video here.